Right, this is the second part, okay, part 2 of today's lecture. This is on scheme of work, okay, this is week 13. Alright, the lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define what scheme of work is and its relationship with lesson planning. And second, learn how a scheme of work is done. Okay, so according to LO1, scheme of work, we look at the definition of scheme of work. So a scheme of work is a plan. It is a plan. Okay, a scheme of work is a plan that defines work to be done in the classroom. Okay, work to be done in the classroom is actually your teaching. Right, so SOW for short. SOW is actually a scheme of work. It supports teaching and lesson planning. So you need to follow the syllabus and the aim in the syllabus to improve both teaching and learners' potential. You will have to choose the approach that you want to use, teaching strategies and also teaching strategies and learning theories to take according to the needs of the school and the ability of your learners. Now, in some schools, they only use a few learning theories. Okay, they use a few learning theories. Okay, and learning approaches. Okay, learning approaches here will be like they are using flipped classroom. They are using inquiry based, okay, or we call them teaching strategies. Okay, teaching strategies. Alright, now let's look at the second LO, which is learn how scheme of work is done. Now, the scheme of work. Okay, so it is considered a good scheme of work if it is a guide to the teacher to the sequence of lessons for a particular subject. It is an expression to the teacher and others of confidence in understanding and interpreting the curriculum, which from the scheme of work has been derived. Okay, it is considered a good scheme of work if it is a commitment to the aims and objectives contained within the scheme of work and the relevant curriculum documentation according to Musin Kafi et al. 2015. This is actually from a research for the definition of scheme of work. Okay, now scheme of work could be 1 week. Okay, that means you do a 1 week planning, okay, for your class. Or it could be a month, or it could be a term, or even a year. So these are all scheme of work, okay, depending on the duration of the school year. For primary school year, that means 6 years. Okay, every year is divided into 3 terms, and each term will last 3 months or 13 weeks. So then you're breaking it down into months, into weeks. So teachers will be doing weekly planning. That means your SOW is a weekly plan. Okay, weekly plan. In such a case, a scheme of work should be made for each term. That means 13 weeks, you will have 13 SOW. Okay, so ideally, schemes of work should be prepared before classes begin. In my old school, we actually do the planning on a Friday. Okay, and submit our record book to our superior, and we get our record book on Monday morning. Okay, Monday morning before our class begins. So then we will record whatever activity, whether it fail or it succeed, what can we do, our reflection in this record book. That was in my old school. But when I joined Taylor's College and started teaching Cambridge A-levels, we have a digital. This one is not a digital. We have a digital record book. Okay? Or a digital SOW, we call it. Right? So we use a Words document at that point. And then we send the file to our superior, and the superior will e-sign, okay, e-sign on our digital record book. So the digital record book allows us to write as long as we want. Okay, so that's the one good thing. Whereas the physical book here is very limited, so you have to really write very small. Okay, what's the importance of scheming? Now, according to Nasibi and Kiyoy in 1995, they state that scheming is essential because of the following. It makes teaching both systematic and orderly, since it ensures that topics in the syllabus are taught in order of difficulty, starting with the simplest to the most complex. So the way the content of any subject is from simple to complex. That's why you cannot jump to any chapter that you want. You have to follow chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 until whatever chapter there is. Let's say 10. Okay, so this is the importance of scheming. SOW also will ensure that every topic in the syllabus is covered. So when you start work as a teacher, you have no experience in how to do this. So you will look at how your seniors do the SOW, and most of the time the head of department will do the SOW and give it to you. So you follow the SOW. Now, sometimes when you are already a senior teacher, you do your own SOW. Okay? Now, SOW also enables the teacher to allocate time for events and activities which might interfere with the syllabus. For example, public holidays, prize-giving day, sports day, etc. Oh yes, this you will need to take into consideration when you have what we call as an academic year. Okay, academic year, that means you have, let's say, 13 weeks. Okay, now within this 13 weeks, you have to find when is it that it's a public holiday. Okay, sports day, all right, prize giving day, okay, Earth Day, or whatever day there is, etc., etc., etc. Okay, then you need to see whether it really is in the middle of the week or at the end of the week, or is on the Saturday and Sunday. That means it's not bothering your lesson, or it's not disrupting the week. Okay, so you have to put that in as well. Now, in some schools, if it is a public holiday, you don't need to replace the holiday. You don't need to replace the class. But in some schools, you need to replace the class. Okay? So, find out whether you need to replace the class or you don't. Okay? Now, another thing is that SOW gives the teacher a forward insight in teaching by enabling she or he to identify the content, the methods, and relevant instructional materials which he or she is going to use in the lesson. So, giving the individual enough time to sort out the resources and materials. Okay, for some of you who have already done any form of teaching, you know that you need to plan. Okay, once you plan, you need to find the resources. Okay, find the resources, and then you need to use the resources during class. Okay, during class. Now, when I did the face-to-face activities with my students, I actually have to come up with the materials myself using cardboard boxes. Okay, cardboard boxes, and then I will have to I went to popular bookstore and bought plasticines, and then I went to the local supermarket to buy straws, and more plasticines. Okay, because I need my students to use them, and then I put them into plastics or Ziploc bags, and I label that table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4. So when I get to class, excuse me. So when I get to class, I just place the Ziploc bags on table 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, the students they were like, okay, what are we doing today? So they were so excited, and these are B.Ed students. Okay, right. So they themselves go through what their students will be going through. So that gives them an idea of how to design activities. Now, SOW guides teachers in planning a lesson plan. So it checks the teacher's pace of teaching, whether you are going too slow or you need to speed it up, and so on. Okay, but whatever it is, please ensure that your students learn. Excuse me. Please ensure that your students learn. Because if they don't learn and you rush your syllabus, you rush your teaching, it doesn't carry weight. Okay, because your students are not learning. So make sure that your students learn. Now, it is useful during transition when a teacher is transferred. The incoming teacher will easily take over from where he or she had left, avoiding repetition or omission. So your lesson plan is very important. Okay, now this ensures continuity of the learning process. So the students will not have to wait where the class is not learning anything. Okay, so in this case, the teacher transferred to another school, but the teacher in the school can take over the transferred teacher's lessons by looking at the lesson plan. That's why a lesson plan must be a detailed lesson plan. Okay, detailed instruction. Okay, with all the resources and materials in. Alright, school scheme of work. Most schools will have their own scheme of work for their teachers to use. That is standardized according to audit and easy for admin to keep track of what have been taught and will be taught. Okay, so some of the schools, they have their own physical book, okay, SOW book, or they have a digital one. Okay, digital SOW. So your job as a teacher is that on the last day, last day of school for that week, okay, last day of school for the week, you need to hand in or send your SOW for checking. Okay, scheme of work. You have to send your SOW for checking. Okay, here are some examples of SOW. What you can see here, this is the link. You can click on the link if this is too small for you. Okay, so what you see here will be this is the scheme of work here. Okay, district, because this is from I think US. Okay, so they have the district, academic year, term, okay, term, first term, second term, and the name of the school actually. Okay, subject, class, and we have the weeks and dates, we have the unit title, content, lessons and evaluation, and then resources and references and observations. So here you can see that for week 1, this is from January 22nd to January 27. This will be on general revision and science and elementary technology for Rwanda schools, pupils book, page 5. So this is from Rwanda. Okay, Rwanda is in Africa. Okay, and then week 2 and week 3 and week 4. So this is one form of SOW. Here's another one where this is the week, the lesson, strand, if you have strand, okay, and strand again, okay, specific learning outcomes, key inquiry questions. So the questions must be in, okay, in this SOW, right? So you can actually check it out here. And then learning experiences. Learning experiences will be the prior knowledge. Okay, some schools they use learning experiences, we use prior knowledge. Learning resources is the resource and materials. What kind of assessment are you doing or the students will be doing? And reflection will be for the teacher. So let's say week 2, lesson 1, personal hygiene. Okay, and the S strand is use of toilet and latrines. Specific learning outcomes. By the end of the sub-strand, the learner should be able to identify a toilet or latrine and urinal in the school. Okay, now question. Why should we use the toilet or latrine and urinal appropriately? Okay, so this is one question which the teacher will be using, all the teachers, okay, or the teacher who is in charge of this SOW will be using in the class. And then prior knowledge. Learners identify a toilet or latrine using charts, pictures, video clips. Okay, learning resources, Riela and charts. That means she will bring in a model of the urinal or latrine or toilet. Okay, and then charts. Okay, assessment will be observation and oral questions. Okay, so this I think is on health. Okay, health. Right, so let's move on. So this is actually according, the SOW is unique to a school. Okay, the next, for this one you can check it out here if this is too small. Scheme of work, lessons 1 to 112. This is unit 1. Scheme of work, textbook based lesson, unit 1. Okay, so lesson, reading 1, topic, family ties, main skill focus is reading, cross-curricular element will be values, theme, people and culture. Okay, language or grammar focus will be family-related vocabulary, including collocations and expressions. Okay, so content standard is here, learning standard is here, learning outline, and then they have the materials or references and differentiation structures, strategies. Okay, so you can go through this. You see that the scheme of work is slightly different than lesson plan. Okay, the scheme of work is different from lesson plan. Scheme of work can be for 1 week. Okay, and for each week, each day, like Monday, you plan your lesson plan, LP. Okay, and then for Tuesday, okay, you plan a lesson plan. But for SOW, weekly SOW, you will see like Monday, week 1, okay, like what we have here. Okay, week 1, what is it that you want to cover, and so on. Okay, so just to show you scheme of work, for example, this one is a simple one. Yeah, like the one that you see in your MI module information. We have weeks, okay, and then we have the topic, okay, and then we have, let's say, resources, for example. Okay, so week 1, what's the topic? Week 2, what's the topic? And in some SOW, they have the dates as well. Okay, and let's say this is assessment. Okay, so your assignment 1 is here, for example, and then test or assignment 2, and so on. Okay, so that's the end of scheme of work. If you have any question on lesson plan and also scheme of work, please feel free to write the questions in the comment box in our Google Classroom. Okay, see ya.